a decaying zombie with tattered clothing, a vacant stare, and a subtle green tinge to its skin, is seen drinking a steaming cup of coffee while surrounded by the fantastical architecture of a futuristic amusement park. The park is alive with neon signs, intricate designs, and visitors in outlandish attire, enjoying the attractions and rides. The zombie, incongruously sipping coffee, stands in front of a towering, spaceship-shaped ride, its metallic hull gleaming under the artificial lighting of the park.
A-D-N.
It's HeadphonesNeil!
What's up, guys, and welcome back to HeadphonesNeil Reviews. I'm your host, as always, bringing you this week's set of reviews and updates and all of that good stuff. So, I got a few reviews to go through, nothing too special. I got caught up on a show faster than I expected, and then I'll round it out with my gameplay update and a little bit of update as far as this particular episode goes, if you didn't notice it already. So with that being said, I had a chance to watch the latest episode of The Walking Dead, Dead City. It's a Negan and Croat focused episode. A little bit of Negan, I guess, a little bit, but it's mostly around the Croat and Maggie trying to find Herschel, and ending with the revelation that the Dama is still alive. So we'll kind of see what happens. What's going on is how is Negan going to factor into all of this, and hopefully a good connection of all the storylines and a big drop as to what is going on and what everyone's motivations are. So the next episode is the season finale. So I'm holding a reservation until that happens, but overall a decent enough episode. I thought at first it was going to be the Croat trying to take out Maggie as a way to get to Negan, or maybe even with the thought that the Dama is still alive, that the Croat's still working for her or trying to take over her territories or something. So in any case, it's one of those things where we'll see how the season finale goes and then decide if they tied it together very well on that end. In other news, I had a chance to watch The Last of Us, both of the seasons, so it actually went by super smooth. It was actually super interesting and engaging. I see why it was getting such favorable reviews and reactions. Having not played the video game too much, I didn't make too many of those connections, but looking up screenshots and stuff online, a lot of the character models seemed pretty good. You could see some shots like Ellie's room and things like that look very video game-esque. Even the outdoor shots when they're going through the forest and the mountains and things like that. So it's one of those things where it did feel like they were trying to keep that aesthetic, so not go too far from it. The whole thing with Ellie being immune is kind of interesting. Although I wonder, so not having played the video games, I don't know if they resolved it yet, but I'm kind of curious to see what they make of that, if there's ultimately a way to find a cure and what they decide. But all in all, it was a very interesting show, and I actually can't wait to see more. I did like Pedro Pascal's acting in this as well. The first season look was just a normal look, but by the time we get to the second season, it did have a very Rick Grimes look from like the later seasons with the whole beard and the disheveled look and all of that, to the point where it almost felt like they were trying to pay homage to that, and basically just that pay homage to him and give kind of that nod to the character and all that. So, but overall, I enjoyed it. I want to see more, but I do want to do some research into the video game to get an idea of the stories, and then I'll probably do a comparison there between the two. But I do like the idea that the team up with Pedro Pascal's character and Ellie is to get her to a safe zone to help find a cure, but then everyone's out for themselves, and they form a bond where he doesn't want the cure to be found at her expense, but then she also doesn't know about his past. but accepts it and all of that stuff. And then all the different factions, like the one with Pedro Pascal's brother, and then the I'm gonna say Fireflies, but whatever those guys are, the Wolves and all of them. So all of those very well done. They introduced things, they did it enough, but they didn't go too far or too little. So it all worked out very well to me with what we have so far. And then with the Spaceballs 2 announcement trailer last week, I thought that I would do a rewatch of Spaceballs to see how it holds up, and does it still give me the same sort of enjoyment as it has over the years. Being one of my favorite comedy movies, I am kind of biased towards it, that I love it no matter what. I know it's a movie of its time, so the Winnebago and things like that, but when you're watching it, they do a very good job with certain ways that they do things, and Mel Brooks's production style, the acting of Bill Pullman and Chevy Chase, or not Chevy Chase, but John Candy and Rick Moranis and everybody. So the whole thing with Mr. Coffee, the spaceship turning into a Mega Maid, and then the whole thing with how many a-holes do we have on the ship, and they all go yo. And then of course my favorite scene is the whole when will then be now scene. So that always makes me laugh and makes me particularly happy. So all in all, very good film. I can't wait to see what they do with the second one. I still go back to, I hope they call it The Search for More Money. But in any case, I can't wait for the second one I can't wait for 2027 for the second one to come out, and to see what they do with it and how they handle not having John Candy. So it's one of those cases where I do hope that, or I wouldn't mind having someone who portrays his son, or like a John, not necessarily John Candy, but I want to say like a Ralphie May, to fill in for him in actually not even Ralphie May. It looks like, I guess he passed away, but another similarly looked comedian to fill in that role. So we get that, and with the understanding that it's going to be a cover and homage to John Candy, but to have someone there to fill that role. But overall, still a very funny movie. Can't wait to see what the second one is, and if Spaceballs is your kind of humor, then I definitely recommend giving it a rewatch. And then on that note, I did have a chance to go to Knott this past week. They have the start of the Ghost Town Alive event, so they didn't have too much going on when we went, but they had a water wagon to spray water on people who want to participate in that. They have some of the Founders Day stuff going on, but not too much going on when we went, so just walk around. They still have a lot of the floral decorations going on, so it looked particularly nice. So I have the usual slideshow up on the YouTube channel. The link is in the show notes. I don't have the usual blog post. I didn't have too many new pictures to take, so not too much going on as far as that goes, but it was a beautiful day. The one thing that I would recommend is the grape bourbon lemonade from the Calico Saloon. It was very tasty, very refreshing. It was a hot day, so that's one thing I will recommend. And then, of course, the Camp Snoopy train is nice, just to go sit around, go by the, I was going to say Forsaken Lake, but the lake under Silver Bullet. Jaguar is owning. It looks like they're making progress on Montezuma's Revenge with the loop part of the track, at least. So, not sure if they're going to still have it open this year, but I figure maybe at the latest by spring of 2026. At best, if all goes well, I figure by the end of 2025, or maybe like fall instead of summer. So we'll see how that goes and when it opens. But overall, a nice relaxing day for that. And then as far as the Doom Dark Ages gameplay goes, the levels that are up now for this week is very reminiscent of Doom 3. So a lot of the different level designs for the spaceships and where the, not necessarily where the makers are, but where the king and theorist people and all of those people are, is very Doom 3-esque. We have a couple of levels in Hell as well, so we are getting some of that stuff as far as the Doom guy trying to defeat the forces and what's going on with that. But I go back to it's doing something I like as far as the story progression goes. Rather than end of chapter cards as far as story updates, they're doing story progression via the title cards for each chapter, and then cutscenes for almost every map pretty much, as far as what everyone's up to and what the kind of theme for that level is going to be for what you're trying to do. So it gives each level focus versus a chapter one. It's or episodic update versus a chapter specific update. So you have it's an open area, but it's also a very directed story. So you get a good mix of both for that. So that's all there is for this particular episode. So something that came up when I was prepping the cover image for this week is the AI, or I used Google Gemini for the image, and it gave an actual summary of how it came up with the image, like with the description. So I thought, well, let's use some more AI and create a voice prompt for that. So I thought I would use that as the header for the episode. I don't know if it's something that's going to be happening or given every single time there's an image created, or why I did it for this time, or if it's something new, but that's something I'm going to play around with. So if it happens, or whenever it does happen, I'm thinking I'll use that. It's something I've been floating in my head to have intro audio for each podcast, so that actually solves that problem to a certain extent. So I'm kind of going down that road and looking into that further to use that in that way. So if you like it, then leave your feedback. If you don't like it, if it doesn't really fit or whatever, I also want to hear back, so let me know what you think as well. So that with that and feedback on the episode as well, all the social media sites are linked on the website at HeadphonesNeil.reviews. All the gameplay videos and the audio version of the podcast is also up on the YouTube channel at youtube.com/PatelN01. But that is all for this particular episode. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time.